Welcome back to A Deeper Dive. I'm your host, Taylor Thompson.
And I'm your host, Corney Van Hopen.
Today, we'll be diving deeper into safe injection sites and their role during the opioid crisis.
There's not one Canadian who hasn't been touched by the opioid crisis.
We're sitting down with harm reduction worker Zoe Dodd to speak about the role that overdose prevention sites are having during this public health crisis.
Zoe, why are people dying from opioids?
Now, fentanyl has pretty much taken over the street market of opioids in the GTA, so it's basically all people can get if you're looking for street drugs. It's hard for people to get prescription pills or heroin, and the fentanyl is quite unstable, and so, there's been definitely an increase in overdoses in the last while, and it's actually just continues to climb, and it's not safe.
Could you describe overdose prevention sites and what they offer to the public?
So in Toronto, we have two kind of sites. We have one that's called a supervised consumption service, and the other one is an overdose prevention site. And they both offer a safe place for people to come and use to pre-obtain drugs, and in a space that's supervised and monitored by staff who have knowledge and training in harm reduction, overdose prevention, and know services to refer people to, and can do one-to-one informal counseling and health counseling.
So, what has the relationship been like between the government and overdose prevention sites?
Every month we wait and see if we're going to still operate. So that's been going on since August. And now, we've been having extensions like month to month. It's a really hard way to work in an emergency situation. The government hasn't explained to us what that new model will look like. It was difficult to fill the application. I think that this government will not close us down, but it might close some of us down, and that would be a huge mistake. They've capped the number to 21, and they refuse to act like the public health emergency it is. You hear of a measles outbreak, one person gets measles, and you hear all over the news, everyone get vaccinated, please get vaccinated, all these discussions. We've had thousands, over 10,000 people die in Canada. We have people die every day in Ontario. We had 18 people die last month in Toronto that we know of, and we do not have a public health emergency. We do not have an emergency response by any level of government.
Can you explain what overdose prevention sites mean for drug users?
People were shocked that we cared that much. They felt like they'd been abandoned, and that people didn't care that they lived or died, and they were reversing each other's overdoses in the park and taking that on and trying to save each other. And this gives people, one, a sense of hope, but also that they have a space that's safe for them to go and use in.
Can you touch on what it means for the city of Toronto and the general public to have these sites operating?
There's a huge benefit. One, first of all, we're in just such a deep crisis, and part of the reason why I personally wanted us to have a site is because, I worked at a workplace where we would find people overdosed in our bathrooms, and as a worker, that'd be really frightening. You would know how long someone's been there. You'd be pulling them out. They'd be jarred between the toilets, and that also happens in washrooms, in libraries, of cafes, and the Tim Hortons, and all over places, all over the city. I read a tweet the other day where a person saw someone ODing on the TTC. So, this is the thing about why it's important for the safety and well-being of everyone in the city, is that people have places to go where they are safe, where people can help them, and that's a benefit to everyone. And losing people from our society has a huge cost to the well-being of our neighbors and our loved ones and our friends. I have had so much loss in my life that has impacted me in such hard ways that people shouldn't have to go through that kind of loss of losing people they care about.
Who are the people that are working at overdose prevention sites? Are they certified?
Well, we're all paid. So as soon as we moved inside last year, August or July, we got Ministry of Health funding. So everybody who works here is paid, and everybody who volunteered at the old site and everyone who works here were trained in overdose response.
And so, in your opinion, what would be the repercussion of losing the licenses for overdose prevention sites? What could the city expect to see?
Well, closing them would mean that we would have clogged up. Oh, it would be bad. Like, we do not have enough ambulances on the street to deal with the amount of overdose that will occur in the community. I think it would be devastating to the people that access these spaces. You know, we started in August of 2017. Those are a lot of connections and relationships we built with people. People feel quite connected to the sites that they go to, and losing them would just be detrimental. I mean, we are in a public health emergency. I don't know why you would close a life-saving service in an emergency unless you just want people to die.
Licenses for safe consumption sites are set to expire on March 31st. If the government does cut funding, the results could be horrific. Many more innocent people will die.
Thank you so much for your time today, Zoe. We really appreciate you sharing your knowledge about harm reduction work and overdose prevention sites with us and our audience.
Thanks. Thanks for getting me to talk to you. I'm glad I talked to you this morning. I'm happy to do that.
Thanks for joining us again this week. Stay tuned for another episode of A Deeper Dive.